From Craig Rolson in Europe, David Gerber in Brazil, and our editor-in-chief and publisher, Don Oshman, it's time for this week's Sunday Night Week in Review.
To another edition of the HideNet Sunday Night Market Report Week in Review. Our Craig Rolson reports from Europe this week that it was everybody's kind of getting into a holiday mode. In 10 days, the Italian tanners will shut down, and many other people in the European market. So things are just kind of rolling along. Producers have sold until September, most of them, so that's okay. They don't have to be anxious to sell. But there's little pressure on the packers who produce green fresh hides. The urgency to buy them at the prices they want is mitigated by the inability of producers to sell their hides from any place except China, as Europe goes on holiday. Craig reports that fresh light green German bulls were easier, as were Holsteins at the moment as we close business Friday. Another interesting statistic is that, surprising to some, that the Italian footwear exports declined in the first quarter. Those were released this week as well and surprised others. The European cow market is, like in North America, has stopped going down with the ferocity that it was, and it's kind of stabilized a little bit. Veal skins are also very quiet because they rely to a great deal on Italians buying them and tanning them. That's all slowed down. The market's not stronger or weaker, it's just quiet. And if anything, maybe a little underlining downward pressure on that market. Russia's been a top market for calf skins and veal skins, but because of the Ukrainian-Russian situation, and people aren't exactly buying luxury products in Moscow these days like they were several months ago. And I think the economy's been hurt a little bit too, but that's out of our bailiwick, the geopolitical situation. Lamb and sheep markets in Europe are still under pressure, and there's no relief in sight. And part of that is also due to the Russian situation and Turkish situation, which are having their own problems in that part of the world. Name a part of the world there's something bad going on, and that's also hurting business. So the sheep and lamb complex is having a tough time finding markets, and then you've got the fellmongering situation ongoing in China, where they can't process the skins like they used to. In North America, just about all selections advanced this week. This is contrary to Europe, to Latin America. The American market strengthened. Interesting statistic that the year-to-date average on heavy Texas steers, the benchmark selection in America, is between $110 and $112 CNF, and that's give or take a few dollars where the market closed this week. For the reporting period ending July 10th, slaughter, which is below seasonal averages, usually it's over 600,000 a week. Now it's around 575,000 hides per week, cattle per week, due to the herd rebuilding and the drought and all this. But slaughter still exceeded shipments and sales for the period ending July 10th. So the question is, why did prices rise? You've got disappointing export figures, and the market goes up. We examined that this week in our market observation in the HideNet weekly report, and it shows why prices have gone up, and basically it's a supply-demand situation, which always makes markets. A feature in this week's North American market report is an exclusive interview HideNet had with Su Chaoyang, who is the president of the Chinese Leather Association, and we asked him all questions about pollution to clarify what tanners are closing, why they're closing, when they're coming back, including the fellmongering. And all this is revealed in the interview we have, which is published in all of our reports this week. It's such a very good interview and so enlightening. Speaking of HideNet, which we are speaking of HideNet, we are in the process of completing our development of our international market report. And we'd like you to take a look at it to see if you think it's of interest. If you'd like a copy of our weekly international report, just send an email to me, Don, at HideNet.com. Don, D-O-N, at HideNet.com, and we'll shoot you back a copy of the latest issue of the HideNet International Report. No cost, no obligation, just take a look at it. Latin America this week, I guess it could be summed up as saying steady, steady, steady. No change in prices. The Italian closings, which are a big market along with Asia for the TR selections, especially in Brazil, they're not buying right now, except maybe for September. But the producers, the tanners, seem pretty good shape. The only problem they have is that the green price, like it's come down other places, hasn't come down in those countries, especially Brazil. The markets are very steady for fresh green hides that the tanners rely on, and they're getting squeezed and squeezed on their margins because they can't get the price of their TR1 up. Prices range now. They're asking, purchases have been made depending on the producer. There's a big variance between this tanner and that tanner's production of TR1. $1.90, and asking prices for the top quality ones are as $2, which we haven't heard of any sales at that level. So the TR1 market is in between there, but the packers are stressed because they can't get the green price down. And of course, the split market's gone to heck. And now, in addition to all that, domestic business in Brazil especially is slow. In fact, there was a show, Francal, disappointing. That's for the retail people who buy Brazilian footwear, disappointing with low attendance. And that was this week. So at the moment, it's not so good. The CICB released export totals through June, and it showed gains of 23% in dollars, not in units, from the year to date for the first 6 months of the year. So they've had very good business, but again, the Brazilian tanners are squeezed. But automotive business keeps cooking along, and they're probably making money on that, which they can't make on their TR going to footwear. Anyway, that sums it up for tonight. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, same place. Thanks for watching.